Happy Monday, everybody. Thank you so much for downloading or streaming the Be Our Guest podcast. Today, we've got a great trip report. We're headed out to Virginia with listener Kara, talking about a fun trip where she took her mother, actually surprised her mom for her 65th birthday, and they stayed at 3 awesome hotels. How about the Grand Floridian? Then how about Animal Kingdom Lodge Villas? And how about adding an extra night over at the Polynesian and dining at places like Victorian Albert's, California Grill, Jiko, and more, and doing things like Cirque du Soleil, Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party with a fireworks dessert party thrown in the middle, and more. Oh, Narcoossee's is in there too. I mean, this was an outstanding trip. So strap in. We're having a fun trip report on today's show. Don't forget, our show is always brought to you by the Magic for Less Travel. We'd love to help you plan your next Walt Disney World, Disneyland, Disney Cruise Line, or Adventures by Disney trip for no additional cost to you. Check out all the details today over at themagicforless.com. Please also use our Amazon affiliate link when you shop online. That one extra click supports everything we do throughout the year. Please support us. It really does help us out. beourguestpodcast.com/Amazon. And thank you so very much to our Patreon supporters. You guys are our all-stars. You make this show happen. You can support us as well, just $5 a month. And for that support, you get a bonus show every week. It's called Mike in the Midwest. Come over this week. We'd love to have you. Patreon.com/beourguestpodcast.
Ready to take a trip to the world? You found the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. This is where your memories come front and center on our podcast stage.
Welcome to episode 2604 of the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Rallman from beourguestpodcast.com and one of the senior agents over at the Magic for Less Travel. Happy Monday to you. Hope you are getting ready to have a great week here in mid-December. I know that I am, and it's because it's a very special week for me here because I am being graced with a great opportunity a bit later this week, and I hope that you will follow right along with me this week because I have been invited to sail the Disney Treasure later this week, starting on the 12th. I believe that's Thursday. We're going to get to preview for 3 nights the newest ship in the Disney Cruise Line fleet, the Disney Treasure. I'm going down on the 11th. I'm going to be at Animal Kingdom Lodge for a night, and all this is going to be on my social media channels. So follow me, especially on Instagram at BeOurGuestMike, also Twitter. And I'll be updating all the places in the clubhouse as well. So follow along, and I'm going to try to do a podcast from the Treasure. If the internet holds, we'll do that. But we'll have live reels coming. I'll have internet from the Treasure. You're going to get to see all the stuff. You can ask questions. We'll go around. I mean, you know, I'm not going to have my wife and kids with me. It's just going to be Ben Lappin from the agency with me. He's hanging out. We're going to be in the stateroom together, so we're going to be getting all kinds of content. So if you have questions, you say, Mike, what's this all about? Shoot, let's go. We'll go check it out together virtually on the ship. So please do hang out with me, Be Our Guest Mike, on the socials, and let me know what you want to know, and we'll explore that ship together this week, starting on Thursday. So let's do this, and can't wait. But today we got to take care of business. We're going on a virtual trip right now, and it's going to be a great one. We have a friend of the show, Kara, joining us from out in Virginia. Thanks for joining us today. Happy Monday. What's going on?
Thank you for having me. Not much going on here. Just enjoying the weather so far.
Oh, well, you know, we're recording this one a bit early because of the trip that's pending. So you said that you're probably under like 18 inches of snow because you said that's just how things work around these places.
Yeah, I hope not.
Big nor'easter hits Virginia. No, I don't know if they actually hit that part of the mid-Atlantic, but you know, because you said that, that's just how things work with our show. So as we're recording this, just about 4 or 5 days previous to this, and it's probably the dust is settled, maybe not at this point. Maybe we're 7 tragedies down the line at this point. Who knows? Because we did record this about 10 days ago. Muppets and Monsters, the Muppet Vision 3D going away from Monstropolis, going over to the Grand Avenue area of Disney's Hollywood Studios, but the Muppets being put into Rock and Roller Coaster in 2 minutes or less, because you're a big Disney fan. What has been your take on this? Kind of like to get where people are falling on this, because there's a lot of opinions. What do you think?
I love it. I think it's need a retheme for a long time. Aerosmith is about 30 years gone. And none of the new generation is into that kind of stuff. And I think the Muppets deserve an actual attraction, a ride, versus just a 3D show.
Did you go into Muppet Vision 3D lately? Was it something that was on your must-do list, or
every time?
did you? Yeah, I know.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm sad about that, but I'm glad that they're still going to be able to incorporate them, into another ride. So.
See, Muppet, I don't know if people have ever mentioned this on the podcast. I've mentioned it over in the clubhouse the other day, is that the Muppet movie, and again, this is dating myself big time, but that was the very first movie I ever saw in a theater. My grandma took me, and the first thing I remember, like you remember that first time you see the big screen for the very first time, and just Kermit sitting up there strumming the banjo in the bog or in the swamp there, boom, 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 and so right there you're hooked for life. So that's like the nostalgia hook for me, and him riding the bicycle and stuff. So it's one of those things. I think if you're from a certain generation, the parks are always going to change, right? And they have to change. They have to change with the times, but it's like, I hate to see that show's going to go away. It has that connection with, it's one of Jim Henson's last creations. But yeah, I do hope it is preserved in a way that is respectful. That's one of the things I hope. And things like Mama Melrose and that area, I've never been to New York City, but it reminds me of that grittiness of like a New York City with like stoops and fire escapes and stuff. I like people dog on Pizza Rizzo. Do you like pizza? Do you ever go to Pizza Rizzo? I like Pizza Rizzo.
We never go there, but I mean, the last time I went there was years ago, but I thought it was fine. I mean, it was theme park pizza. Like, what do you expect?
I know, and it's cute. Well, and I was a wedding DJ forever. We owned a DJ company, so I've DJ'd every wedding reception in the Midwest. In that little room up top, I was like, oh my God, it takes me back. I feel like I'm in The Wedding Singer or something. Anyway, I just want to talk to you about that and see what you thought. So we're going to talk about your trip, and you went down on a trip this past fall for your mother's 65th birthday. Big celebration. So how did this come together? How'd you guys decide on going out to Walt Disney World?
So I actually took her for her 60th birthday. So 5 years prior. And then this was kind of a surprise trip. I mean, she knew about the trip itself, but she didn't really know a whole lot about what was going on. All she knew was that she was staying at the Grand Floridian.
I mean, it beats All-Star Sports for a birthday celebration.
Well, for her 60th birthday, we stayed at All-Star. So
okay, well there you go. I mean, that's a good 5-year jump. I mean, that's called inflation right there. All-Stars, right. Grand Floridian. I'll take that. I'll tell my wife, hey, 5 years, we want to move from Riverside to, I don't know, like you can't really go higher than Grand Floridian. That's pretty sweet. So well, you said it was kind of a surprise. Was this all put together by you? She had no idea for the ADRs, for anything. Like it was just like get in the car, we're going to the airport kind of thing, like that.
Yeah. So she actually lives in Fort Myers, so I flew to Fort Myers the night before, and then we drove down to Orlando together. I actually gave her kind of a fake itinerary, so she thought we were going some places. They weren't actually those places. So she thought she knew what we were doing, but she didn't know everything.
You're second level, Eel. I like this. Dude, this is awesome. I mean, this is the it's even better than keeping somebody in the dark. It's like giving them the false sense of hope here. I like it. So, okay.
I had to make sure that she brought the right outfits, the clothing. So that was hard. So like I had to make sure, like, because Victoria and Albert's is difficult. So yes. I wanted her to know we were going somewhere fancy, but I definitely didn't want her to know we were going there.
Holy cow. Okay. So we got so many cool things. So we're going to kind of just jump, boom, 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 and go down. Because I mean, so many things we don't ever get to talk about here on the show. So let's talk about the Grand, just staying there. What were your thoughts on that? Because I got to stay there a couple summers ago and really changed my perspective on things. They let a bum like me from Missouri stay there and they didn't kick me out. Shocking. You're fancier. I mean, what was your thoughts on staying at the Grand Floridian?
So I never stayed there before the remodel, the re-theme. Because I heard a lot of, grandma vibes, old. Yeah. But the new remodel is
It's sweet.
absolutely beautiful. It's stunning. It's clean. It's crisp. The colors, everything fits perfectly. I love the subtle Mary Poppins theme. And they really put a lot of thought into how they laid out the rooms, even down to like the technology with the
Mhm.
plugs and the USB ports and the vanity. Everything is designed perfectly.
What was your mom's initial thought when you guys arrived at the Grand? I mean, because last time you're rolling into, hey, we're here, we're passing the McDonald's over by the All Stars, and now you're cruising past the Polynesian up to the Grand Floridian.
She loved it. She thought it was beautiful. I mean, now it's like, I don't know if she can ever stay anywhere else, but
Yeah, it's dangerous because
it
it's
is.
70. I mean, what are you going to do? I mean, you're in trouble. We're going to have to
Yeah,
talk to Pam Forrester, see what we can come up with. Okay,
right.
so you get there, kind of settle in. You got a great accommodation at the Grand. How do you get things started there to kind of get the vacation kicked off?
So the thought was we knew we probably wouldn't be able to check into a room yet, but they actually did get us a room right away. So we checked in, and then the plan was to go to the pool. She actually thought we were having dinner in our koozies, but this was actually Victoria and Albert's night. Um, so there was actually bad weather, so we couldn't really do the pool. So we kind of just walked around the resort, and I kind of showed her around. And she's been there before several times, but she's not as versed as I am. So we walked up to Victoria and Albert's, and I had made on Canva, I had made like all these certificates for each one of the surprises I was giving her in an envelope for each day. So I handed her the first one when we were there, and it basically said, "Hey, we're eating at Victoria and Albert's tonight, not Narcoossee's," and she cried
Okay.
because she's always wanted to go there. And I told her, I was like, I couldn't get reservations, sorry. And so yeah,
I mean, that's so special because that's one of those things as a Disney fan. It's just one of those like bucket list items, right? I mean, I've never been there. I feel like again, it's like I felt with the Grand Floridian forever, right? Like if I show up at the door, they're like, "Get out!" Like, don't. I mean, I still feel that way about Victoria and Albert's. Like if I ever like went there, they'd be like, "Sir, no, please, maybe Grand Floridian Cafe will accept you." That's how my brain works. So, and I know that isn't how it is, but that's just how I feel because I would be a fish out of water in that place. But what is that experience like? I'm sure it was amazing, but walk us through that because we never get to talk about Via Day here. What would you guys, how was it?
so I had been there twice before, and they have two different rooms you can book. They have the Queen Victoria room, which only has four two-top tables in it. It's very small. And then they have the main dining room. And I had only been in the Queen Victoria room, and I was trying to get that again because I had such a great experience the last two times, but I couldn't. So I picked up the main dining room, and then they give you a choice of two different menus essentially. One just has a couple more added features to it. Then they ask you if you want to do the wine pairing. Of course, you have to do the wine pairing. If you're going to do the dinner, you have to do all of it. So we did. And they actually had just received about a month or two before that, they had received their first Michelin star, which was huge because they had deserved one for many, many years. And it was a very big deal for them.
Yeah, I saw that on the social media that they were given that recognition, since post COVID, and it was a big deal again. So you got in there. So walk us through though for folks that you've obviously this was your third time. It sounds like. What is it like though for somebody who's never been there? I mean, obviously it is the most formal dining experience you can have at Walt Disney World, probably almost in the state of Florida. Like for again, what's the feel? It's a lot of small little plates from what I hear. I mean, like it's very slow paced. Just tell us
Yes.
about what the experience would be like for somebody has never crossed the threshold.
So one cool thing is that they do change the menu seasonally, quarterly. So, and it's always themed to something. The past one we had was a Midsummer's Night. So it always has some kind of theme, and the plates come out intricately themed with edible flowers or glitter or whatever goes to that theme. And then you have different silverware, different plates, different glasses for every course. You never use the same thing twice. They also have three different bread courses throughout the dinner. it's definitely slow, but they pace it to your pace. So if they can tell that you're moving faster, they'll move faster. If you want to slow down, you could tell them, hey, I'd like to take like a 15-minute break. Can we wait? Because your table is your table for the night. They're not seating that table again.
Wow.
So yeah, so it is pretty much all night. And it is an extremely hard reservation to get, but people get really discouraged, but there are a lot of apps, mouse dining, stuff like that. That's how I've gotten it the last 3 times I've tried to get it. I've been able to get a reservation the last 3 trips. So it's very possible to get if you don't get it at that 60-day mark.
That's a great tip. That's why I love having the show, because you can always find some little nugget from folks like you that help us all have better vacations. So I appreciate that very much. Let me ask you one other thing. So we mentioned before we start recording about cruising a little bit. We're talking a little Disney Cruise Line. Have you ever done Remy on, because you mentioned the fantasy, did you do Remy? So what? No, you haven't, because I was wondering what the comparison would be like to a Remy. Obviously, it'd probably be a level above that, but I'm sure it's, in the ballpark maybe.
Yeah, my brother's done it and he really enjoyed it, but he hasn't done Victorian Albert. So I don't know. I'd definitely like to try Remy next time.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure Remy's probably a step below V&A, but it's probably, it's because it's a step above Palo. I don't know. Right. I wonder, it's probably kind of like a maybe 2/3 of the way to V&A. I don't know. Who knows? But that sounds interesting. I love that. We got so much other stuff to talk about, but I saw that and I'm like, gotta talk about that. Okay, so as your first day, wow, what a way to kick off the trip. I mean, come on now. All right, so it looks like the next day you guys headed over to Epcot and had some fun over there with Genie Plus added in. That's the way to go. So give us some highlights from that day over at Epcot.
We did. That's actually the first time I've ever used Genie Plus. I always do the individual lightning lanes, but because we go so much, I never want to spend the money. But because we had one day, I wanted to be able to use it, and it worked great. It was fine. Did I need it? Probably not, but I still think it was worth it. Yeah, we did the scavenger hunt for the Food and Wine Festival, the Remy scavenger hunt. That was fun. We always do that. We hit a lot of the food booths. And then I had booked a surprise for that day for the Behind the Seeds tour at the Land Pavilion.
I still haven't done, I've done almost every tour at Walt Disney World. No kidding. I've done the train tour. I've done the Undiscovered World Showcase. I've done Keys to the Kingdom twice. I've done so many of the tours. I haven't done that one. It's the cheapest. And Living with the Land's my favorite ride. I never get to it. So and everybody loves it. I mean, did you like it? Was it good? Everybody likes it.
Oh, it's wonderful. I've done it before too.
I gotta do this tour.
Well worth the money. Well worth the money.
I'm so
yes,
backwards.
You got to do it. If you're interested at all in gardening and ecosystems, I mean, it's great.
But for real, I taught hydroponics down at Space Camp.
Oh, wow.
I mean, dude, I'm going to do this over marathon weekend because I'm down there for 4 or 5 days by myself. So I'm going. And
it's very easy to get. It doesn't
you can walk up and
book up. You can get it the day before.
I know.
Yeah.
My brain doesn't work right. Anyway, go ahead. So you also, but another thing I want to mention real quick. You did that Disney Visa photo shoot, which nobody ever talks about. And probably 95% of the people listening to our show right now have a Disney Visa. I can tell you because when I book travel, it's always 4266, blah, 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 and I know that's a Disney Visa number. So take advantage. So tell us about how that works for folks.
Yeah. So there's one at Epcot and there's one at Hollywood Studios, and the Hollywood Studios one is Star Wars themed. They don't tell you what characters are going to be in there, but the Hollywood Studios ones we've had Chewbacca, Darth Vader. And it's a one-on-one experience in a private room. So they spend a lot of time with you. You get all those photos free. The Epcot one, it's 2 of the Fab 5. Usually you have no idea who it's going to be, but again, it's a great experience. You get a lot of free photos. They spend a long time, and there's usually, even if there's a line, it might take 15 minutes.
Yep. I remember doing that back when Mallory's driving, she's got 2 jobs. She's a cheerleader. She's got a car. She's driving around all over God's creation. I never know where she is. It wasn't for Find My Friends. When she was 2 years old, we were doing that. This was back when you used to go, you would get the pictures taken. And again, it was the same thing. It was like a blind draw. You would stand in line. They'd, boom, Pluto would pop out, or Goofy. You didn't know. You got one of, like you said, you got one of the 2 of the Fab 5. It was never Mickey, though, it seemed like. But it was always Pluto or Goofy or Donald or something. You never got Mickey. But they pop out there at Epcot. But then we're so long ago, like you went down to the Camera Center store on the way out of Epcot by Spaceship Earth and you got printed out pictures for free. That's how long ago it was. Yeah, I know. I'm super old. God, we've been doing this show for way too long.
No free prints anymore.
No free prints anymore. This was like, I know people like, God, was this picture in black and white? No, it was actually a color picture. Sorry. Continue before people are going to be like, God, is this podcast on vinyl? Okay, so it's not.
Yeah, so then we did a lot more of the food booths. We had PB&J wings. We had the pickle seltzer. I had the pickle milkshake last year, and my mom was not down to try that. So I did. I'm with your mom.
Seltzer. Good call, mom.
It's delicious. Delicious. And then it was pretty hot. We tried to spend a lot of time inside, but we did have Shikisai reservations, which is a relatively new restaurant in the Japanese pavilion, and that I book there always for my Epcot, like right around the fireworks time, because you can walk right outside from the restaurant onto that upper deck and watch the fireworks from there. And it's probably the best view, and you don't have to fight for a spot.
Now, is this the place that is in the old Tokyo dining spot? Is that what I'm thinking?
Yes.
Okay, I got that right. Okay, so it's kind of like the other side of Tepanito, but facing World Showcase Lagoon. So is that a good dining location? Because I, again, haven't been to this location yet.
It's wonderful. I'd been to the Tokyo dining and it was just okay. This is much better. It's more like a Japanese pub. Mm-hmm. So they have a very extensive menu. Even if you're a picky eater, like you will find something that you like. They have sushi, they have cooked food, they have hibachi, they have all different stuff. And again, it's well worth it for the firework view.
Oh man, you sold. I'm ready. Okay, so I got my Epcot day planned out for Marathon Weekend. I'm in. There you go. Shikisai and Behind the Seeds. A little. Oh, there you go. That's all I need. I wish I could get. Now you said those PB&J wings. Now I'm craving PB&J wings. I don't know where I can get them around here, but it sounds like I go to Food and Wine next year. All right. Next day is you're going to be. So this was back in the fall. So you guys had a Halloween party day. So you chilled out during the morning, pool time, just kind of relax. This is the way to do a party day, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, they're exhausting. I've done them before where you go all day and it just, you can't make it. So we just relaxed, went to the pool. We had lunch at the pool. So essentially spent the whole day there and then went back and got ready for the party.
So did you guys do costume shirts? Like how did you guys get into the party?
No costumes, but we did like Disney Halloween themed outfits.
Nice. So what was your theme?
Well, pink. I like pink. So it was like just a Halloween pink theme. Everything was pink.
That works. So now you guys stayed for the whole party because it says 4 to 12. I mean, did you guys make the whole time?
We did.
Nice.
We stayed till close. Yeah. Because we had we did Tiana's first. So we got in line before it even opened. And it looked like a really long line, but once it opened, we were on within 20 minutes. You do get really wet. So I'm glad we brought ponchos because we didn't want to be soaked for the rest of the evening. But it was great. I loved it. That's the first time I'd done it. So I thought they did a fantastic job on that. I mean, of course, Splash Mountain is nostalgic, but like you said, you have to, I know,
here we go again.
Keep moving forward.
Why can't we have both? I know, seriously. I'm one of those people, like, I hate that we got to lose something to get something new all the time. Like, I'm glad that we have Tiana's. But, it's like, I love Mickey Minnie's Runaway Railway. Why do we got to get rid of the Great Movie Ride? Kind of person, but, that's just me. Yeah, I know. But speaking of getting wet, though, at Tiana's, I'm hearing out at Disneyland, that one just drowns you.
Oh, really?
Are you a Disneyland person? Do you guys ever go out to Disneyland?
We've been a couple times, yes.
Because Scott he warned me because we went out there. I went for my very first time in summer of 22, right? That was my I love Disneyland ever since I went that time with him. And we were out there for a week, and I've been out 3 times now and can't wait to go back here in January for the race. But he told me, he's like, if you get on Splash Mountain out here, I'm warning you, you will get soaked out here. Because it's like a single seater, the Splash Mountain out there was.
Right.
And he's like, I'm telling you, he's like, you don't get kind of wet. He's like, you get really, really wet. And so I was watching the people get off, and I mean, they looked like they got out of the shower. And I'm like, I don't think I want to get that because I'm
No.
kind of a baby. Like when my feet get wet, like my socks and my sneakers,
Same.
I'm fucking walking around a theme park with like pruned up feet.
Right.
I'm past that in my life. Like,
Right.
like I feel like I've found Splash Mountain back in World a billion times. Like nah. And now I don't. So I'm gonna do Tiana's down at World. I think I'll be good there.
Right.
But I now feel like I'm kind of like a wimp. Like am I? But if people are whining about it, they're like hardcore Disney fans. So I don't know. Maybe I'm just getting soft. Would you do it out there? People are getting off this thing. No kidding. Looking like they got out of the shower. That's too much.
With a poncho
Yeah.
and not see the weather out there too. Like when I was there last time in January, it was cold. Like, so no, I would not have wanted
Yeah.
to ride that and be wet and cold. Like,
Yeah.
and I'm pretty sure that's why we skipped it.
Yeah. It's just, I don't understand like the reasoning. Like, they could dial that stuff back.
Right.
Is there's too much water in the trough or what? Like, I understand like it's a water ride and there's a little, kids probably get a kick out of getting a little bit wet. But there's a point where it's like, it's just annoying. Like, you just don't want to get so. Anyway, I'm getting off my soapbox. Let me ask you about the fireworks dessert party, though, during a hard ticket event. Did you find that to be advantageous? Was it something you would do again?
I was very skeptical of doing this because everything I read said it's a waste of time. Don't do it. We loved it. And it was perfect. If you're traveling with people or group that need to sit down for a period of time and rest, it is the way to go. You can get in like an hour and a half early, unlimited drinks, unlimited food the whole time. You can come in, get your table, you can leave, and they'll give you a band to come back in when you feel like it. So once you've picked your table, you can go out, ride a ride, come back. But it's a good like 2-hour break of having your own separate space to sit down and relax and be able to sit watching the fireworks, not in a huge crowd. And then because it's a long day, it's a long night. So it's a nice break. I thought it was it's definitely pricey, definitely. But I'd say it's worth it if you need that private seated space.
It's definitely a splurge, right? But it's one of those things that one of the things that is such a premium on any Disney vacation is like a respite, is a place where you can go and escape and just have personal space.
Right.
Think about that. Like, it's just what you crave. Like if you're in the Magic Kingdom or Epcot, especially like on a hot summer day or, in a sticky summer night, if you could just have, 10 feet with nobody around you and just like a guaranteed seat to just decompress for a few minutes, that was guaranteed. We all pay a little bit of money for that. That's just, it's a good thing to like mentally to have. So they're selling that. So there you go. Now I love this next day though. Because again, celebrating your mom's birthday, you guys did Cirque with Steakhouse 71 Lounge and then up to California Grill at the top of the Contemporary. What a day. So talk to me about Cirque, because this show, I got to see it at a media thing about a year and a half, 2 years ago. And I had never seen a Cirque show. This show was awesome. Like, I'm not a theater really. I like theater, but I'm not like a theater guy. And I loved it, but what were your guys' thoughts on Drawn to Life?
I love Cirque shows. They're all awesome. So if you ever get the chance to see any
They're
other
athletes.
one, go.
Like that's the thing I walked out like, because I'm not, I don't get, like I like theater, but I don't get it to the level that most people that talk theater get. When I walked out, I just texted Mallory and I'm like, these theater folks are like amazing gymnasts. Like they're crazy athletes. Like then they're choreographed so perfectly. I'm like, it's like I couldn't believe they were real. It was unbelievable.
Right.
Like I was crying. Like in part, I'm like, holy cow, I can't do this. Like it's too emotional.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, and I think sometimes people think theater is like they have to have older kids or like it's very mature thing, but this is not so much that way. There were several very 3, 4, 5 like young aged kids in there that just loved it, because while maybe they don't understand the full story of what's going on, again, it's a circus performance. Like there's a lot to see and do. So I think anybody would love it.
Yeah, I agree. Because it's high energy, right? You got people on trampolines and unicycles and bouncing, I swear, 25 feet in the air. There was times I was holding my breath, like, God, I hope somebody doesn't break their neck. Like I'm for real.
No.
I was like, this is making me nervous. Like, and again, I'm feeling old because I'm like, God, is this safe? You know, like, but I mean, they're professionals and stuff like that. But I was like, this is 90% of me was like, this is awesome. 10% of me was like, that's too high. Like, okay, that's good enough. And, but it was an amazing show, but you're right. I mean, you don't have to be, everybody was silent, I think, because everybody was mesmerized, especially like there was a section where like these women came out on unicycles and they're doing like a dance, but the whole time they're doing this choreographed dance, they are on dang unicycles. Like you forget, like I couldn't be on a unicycle to save my, like if somebody said, ride this unicycle or you're going to die. Like, I'm like, well, I'm dead because I can't ride a unicycle. They're doing a whole dang dance, like in like a pyramid, like the whole time, like nobody realized they're on unicycles. It's just, there's like one act past the next and it's like it builds. And the whole time they're telling a whole story at the same time that relates to Disney. I mean, I was always of the mindset that why go to Cirque du Soleil? You know, why see a Cirque show when you're at Walt Disney World? Because there's so much other stuff to do at Walt Disney World outside of, like, there's no reason to pay for a ticket to Cirque when you're at Walt Disney World when you have all that other stuff at your disposal, right? You have all those other entertainment venues that you can do. You can go to bought park tickets. You have 4 theme parks. But when I went to see it, I'm like, it's so unique. Like, Cirque is such a different beast because I'd never seen a show like in Vegas or in my town or Canada or wherever. And honest to God, it is one of those things. If you ever get the opportunity to see it, I would say, I'm cheap, but it's worth the money. Like I walked out of there, my jaw dropped. It was cool. So I'm sold.
It's fun way to like, I've tried to break up our park days. Like I tried to do kind of every other. I didn't want this to be just a full park trip. It's too much. It was August, so it was hot. Like, so I wanted to do things that were different than the parks too.
Nice. So then you guys went over to the Contemporary and hit Steakhouse 71 Lounge and California Grill for dinner. I mean, what a great night. So was that a great evening?
It was. We actually didn't make any plans that night. So if you'll believe it, we picked up that California Grill reservation the evening of. So that's also possible. People drop them all the time, especially with the new 2-hour drop rules. So I had asked her, did she want to go to a meal? Did she want to go to some lounges? And she said, oh, let's go to a meal. And I listed what was available. And she said, oh, let's go to California Grill. So that's how we ended up over there. We had a couple drinks at Steakhouse 71 and then went up to California Grill and did a full meal and watched the fireworks. And it was perfect. It was great.
Man, that is a heck of a day. That is a heck of a day. Wow.
Yes.
All right, so it looks like the next day was Animal Kingdom, and you guys were switching over to Animal Kingdom Lodge, checking in over there. So, man, what a day. So tell us about this.
So that was also a surprise. She thought we were staying all 5 nights at the Grand Floridian, and so we actually had a 1-bedroom at Animal Kingdom Lodge, and really that's because I had added on the 5th night and I couldn't get Grand Floridian, so I took what was available.
Story of my life with my guests. They're always like, I think I want to stay one more day. I'm like, you should have told me 6 months ago when that day was available. Guess what? Now you're going to have to stay at a different hotel. But you know what though? Honest to God, it's an opportunity to explore a new hotel many times. So
right, and I had debated between Poly, Grand, and Animal Kingdom Lodge. Animal Kingdom Lodge is like one of my mom's favorite places for dining, especially. And so I knew we were going to go there. So it kind of worked out perfectly. Jiko's her favorite restaurant. So we were able to stay there and then go there that evening. So, and it was my first time in a 1-bedroom, and it's pretty nice, pretty spacious. Did we need it? No, but it was nice.
I mean, you had a laundry facility right there in your villa. I mean, not that you need that either, but I mean, we dried socks in ours this summer because we stayed in a 1-bedroom right before the cruise for one night because it's the only thing that was available. And we're like, we're not doing laundry. We're here for like 12 hours. I'm like, but my socks got wet. Pam's like, we have a dryer. I was like, yes, we are going to dry my socks. I was like, we're probably the only people that have run the dryer to dry some socks. But hey, I paid a lot of money for that. So, real quick, you guys, 2 great dining experiences. Tiffin's. We never talk about Tiffin's there in the park right outside Pandora. So how'd you guys enjoy lunch over there?
I think it's highly underrated. If you can't get into Nomad Lounge, which is where we usually go, if it's got a 2-hour wait, usually you can walk right into Tiffin's. If not, they might tell you 20 minutes, but you can get all the same food from Nomad Lounge in Tiffin's. Even it's not presented on the menu, but if you ask for it, they will get it for you. The same cocktails, you can get the same drinks. And then they also have an extended menu. So it is definitely like a 5-star meal in a theme park, and Animal Kingdom can be tiring and hot. And so
Yeah.
to have that break
in the summer, it can be brutal.
yeah. So to have that break in the middle of the day with like some really good, unique food, it's worth it.
Real quick though, what was your mom's favorite experience as far as outside of dining over at Animal Kingdom? Was it like Festival Lion King? Is she a attraction person? What'd she like over there?
Well, she loves Flight of Passage. So do I.
Yeah,
So
I love that.
Did that.
Nice. I can't do it, but I love that she loves it because everybody loves it, right? I got the motion sickness thing. Yeah. I got to get over that. Okay, so
that one doesn't get me, but the other one, some other ones do.
I can do it once, but I still feel kind of off. I've done it 3 times, but every time I'm like, I probably shouldn't have done it. But it is cool. Like I'm good until like the Banshee like stops and like takes the big breath, and I'm like, oh God, here we go.
Yep.
Then I should probably close my eyes, but
Brace
I can't because
yourself.
it's awesome. Like I'm an idiot. Like here we go. I gotta open my eyes. I'm like, oh. Anyway, so that night though, you went to Jiko. I've been there once. We did a big event for the agency there, and Pam Forrester treated us all. It was very nice of her, and I loved it. It was super fancy. What you guys think of Jiko? Because we don't ever bring that place up. We talk about Boma a lot, but not Jiko.
It's wonderful. It's very unique from the beginning to the end. When we went for her 60th birthday, the cast members working there all hand signed a birthday card for her and presented it to her sang happy birthday in their traditional African language. And it's a memory she will never forget. And it wasn't the food, it was the hospitality and the service. And so that was why we went back again. And it was just as good. I would say they're still not fully there post-COVID. I know it was one of the hardest restaurants to try to get back fully, just because it's down to their wine list is very complicated. They're one of the only people in the country that serve these South African wines, and they're hard to get. And then the staff is not all African as was previous before. So there's some of that missing, but it's still a great experience. Fantastic food. Very different, open kitchen.
Yeah, it's a super cool experience. Like even when we went, it was, again, this was pre-COVID, but I loved it. Like the dishes were tasty. I had a steak. I had some dessert that looked like a bird's nest. That's all I remember. Like it came out and it was like it looked exactly like a bird's nest. Tasted great. I don't know what it was, but it was like all sugary and stuff. But it came out, I was like, this looks like a bird. I told the guy, one of our other agents, like, this looks like a bird's nest. I don't know, because somebody ordered it and like, you're going to like this. I'm like, okay, I guess. And I did, but I was like, it looks like twigs. I was like, I don't know what this is.
Very unique.
Hey, when you're in Rome, right? Let's go. I'm at Animal Kingdom Lodge. I'm going to be a bird. I'm going to eat it. Anyway, it's great. Yeah, but it's beautiful and it was super fancy, and I'd recommend it to anybody. But I did a great. I love when I hear hospitality like that. That is what kind of brings you back, though, right? When you get somebody that is thinking of you, gives you a card, and especially in their own language and their own and they say it in their own way. That's going above and beyond. That's the Disney difference that we always talk about. That's cool.
Yep.
So the next day, again, breakfast over at Sanaa, a pool time at the lodge. So the kind of starting to wrap the trip up, right?
Well, we were supposed to be wrapping the trip up at this point. I was supposed to fly out early evening, and then she was going to drive home. And so we grabbed breakfast at Sanaa and then went to the pool at Animal Kingdom Lodge and hung out there. And it started to rain probably about 1:30. So we went inside to the Mara, and we're just going to grab something quick to eat before changing and heading off to the airport. And I was sitting there and I was like, I wish I had one more night.
I love this. I love this, by the way. This is Scott Gardner, by the way.
Yeah,
so bad.
I'm not really ready to leave. Oh, I fly Southwest. I can change my flight. So I pop on the app, change my flight without saying anything to my mom. And then I said, I changed my flight. I'm going to leave tomorrow. And she was like, what? And I said, yeah, I'm going to leave tomorrow instead. She was like, So what does that mean? I was like, that means we have to stay another night here.
Well, plus, and you had a legitimate reason. Now that I see something here, you have a total reason why you had your hand was forced. This was not a you wanted to. This was actually a you had to, because your mom had not had dinner at Narcoossee's.
Right.
And you would have let her down. Yes.
Yeah. She was supposed to have dinner at Narcoossee's the first night, and she didn't get to do it. So, yeah. So then it was the problem, though, of, okay, now you have to find a room, Kara. And we know how this goes at Disney World. So
yes.
I was able to, had a cast member friend, and they were able to book me a room, thankfully, quickly. And so she was able to, so we got to stay at the Poly. She had never stayed there either. So she stayed at her top 3.
You're killing it, by the way. You are killing it. But go ahead.
Top 3 resorts, all trips. So we went over to the Poly, and I picked up the Narcoossee's reservation that day. Right when we walked in and got out of the Uber, all the characters were there dressed in their Labor Day outfits, Mickey, Minnie, Pluto, everything. And I was like, oh my gosh.
You're walking through a commercial at this point. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, seriously, it was. And so I was taking photos and videos, and they were able to get me a room right away. And I hadn't seen the new Moana themed rooms. So it was one of those rooms. And as we were walking to the room, I was like, oh, it's 2:00. They've probably just opened up the Trader Sam's wait list. I'll get on that because it'll be an hour and a half long. And by the time we get in the room and change and all that, they'll call us right down for Trader Sam's. And that's exactly what happened. So we got up to the room, unpacked, changed, and got right into Trader Sam's. And then after Trader Sam's, we were able to go over to Narcoossee's for dinner.
Oh my gosh. And then you wrapped up, you had fireworks on the beach at the Polynesian. You get up the next morning and do a Kona breakfast. I mean, how great is that? I mean,
it was the perfect trip.
I'm sure your mother was just super appreciative of this. And I can't imagine, like, you guys probably still talk about this trip. What a special time.
Oh yeah, it was perfect. I mean, I don't think you could have done anything else. I mean, we kind of hit it all. So
what a great trip. So as we wrap this up, though, for any folks that are thinking about this, like an adult trip, going down with your parent that, celebrate a special milestone birthday like this or something, what did you was there anything that surprised you or any tips you would give anybody for pulling something off like this? Because you did have a lot of kind of on the fly moments, it sounds like, but anything you would offer up to our listeners that are thinking about, hey, I might take my mom or my dad down and do like a parent celebration kind of like this?
A couple of things you have to remember is your audience or who you're going with, because I go with several different people and each one is different. And so for this one, I knew it needed to move a little slower. It couldn't be running from attraction to attraction. I knew it was also going to be hot, so I had to take into account the weather. So I think slow down on these trips and hit some of these experiences that aren't necessarily just attractions. Try something new, try something different. Don't be afraid. Disney does everything the best, so you probably won't be disappointed. And if, like I said, if you can't get a reservation to something, try walking in, try looking at the app the day of, try the mouse dining apps, because I've been able to get everything that I've wanted, right away. So
great tips and a great trip. I mean, this was actually so much fun here on a Monday to just virtually go around the parks and the resorts and all the great restaurants with you. So, Kara, thanks for taking the time with us here to start another great week here in December, and happy holidays. Great rest of 2024 to you. We appreciate your time.
Thank you. Same to you.
All right. Don't forget, our show always brought to you by the Magic for Less Travel. We'd love to help you plan that next Disney vacation, whether it's down to Walt Disney World, Disneyland, or Disney Cruise Line. We're standing by right now to help you out. No cost to you. Check out all the details today over at themagicforless.com. Please also use our Amazon affiliate link when you shop online this holiday season. That one extra click supports everything we do here on the show. Just click through beourguestpodcast.com/Amazon. And thank you so much for your support on Patreon. $5 a month goes a long way to keeping us on the air, so we really appreciate that. Thanks to everybody who already supports us over there. It really does mean a lot to us. For that support, you get a bonus show every week called Mike in the Midwest. It's a crazy little show. We just kind of talk about things. But coming over this week, we'd love to have you at patreon.com/beourguestpodcast. Again, please follow me this week, especially on the social media, because I'll be down at Animal Kingdom Lodge. I can't say that I'll be at Jiko. Probably not. Probably not even Boma. But I will be at the Mara. I guarantee I'll be getting some zebra domes at the Mara. And I'll be taking pictures of that beautiful tree at the lodge because it's up. And here, there, and everywhere, especially on the Disney Treasure. So give me a follow, especially on Instagram and Twitter. And I'm on Threads. And I'm even on Blue Sky. So look for me over there. I'm on all the places. Facebook. Mike Rallman on Facebook. And Be Our Guest Podcast on Facebook. I'm everywhere on social media. So just look for me. And it's a Be Our Guest Mike. So follow me and we'll have all kinds of live coverage this week. So I can't wait to share everything over there. No live call-in show Sunday night, probably because I'm getting back late Sunday. So I don't think I'll have time to do that. But this Monday, we're going to record live for this week's shows. And it's going to be all about the Disney Treasure. So you might want to join us live for that if you have any questions. We'll have Pam with us. Ben will probably join us for that. So, we're going to be talking the treasure this coming week, so be ready for that. All right, we're going to get out of here. Wish you a great Monday. We'll be back again on Wednesday with more of your listener questions. So for Kara out in Virginia, I'm Mike here in Missouri. You guys have a great week. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you real soon.
You've been listening to the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. If you have questions, comments, or would like to be a guest on the show, please visit our website at beourguestpodcast.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you real soon.